Welcome to Vlogmas day number 3, and today's topic is all about how I design my Christmas budget. Now, obviously, going into this discussion, I didn't want to share too much about the fine details of exact dollar amounts, just because, well, number one, for my family's privacy, but number two, just because everyone's in a different place with their own personal budgets, and I did not want to, I don't know, appear to be insensitive to anyone who might be spending less than I am this Christmas. I will tell you that I'm spending significantly less this year than I have in some years past, and I discussed that on my previous video, which I'll link up in the corner. Because our family is going through a change, and that is that we are starting to have little grandkids that are coming up, and I want to be able to devote more of our budget over time to the grandkids and less to the adult children. So for that reason, this year, we've opted to do a gift exchange as a family, and the little kids are the only ones that we're just like buying whatever we want for. So that will give us a little bit more budget. And right now, while we only have one infant grandchild and one like almost 4-year-old grandchild, we won't be spending a lot on them. Grayson's presents are still pretty like cheap, the things that he loves, and he has lots of people buying for him. And Alba, she doesn't need much at this age because she's an infant. So we're going to use the extra money that we would later on spend when they get a little bit bigger and we have more grandchildren. We're going to spend that on outside decorations so that moving forward later on, we will have like really nice setup outside. Joe and I both really love Christmas, and we were married at Christmas time, like in the middle of December. December 14th is our wedding anniversary. And we just love everything about decorating for Christmas and, purchasing gifts for people and things like that. So having some really nice decorations outside so that when the family comes to visit is a big priority for us. So that's kind of like how we set our priorities this year. And I'm just going to go through and use like a percentage model. So you can see kind of like how we do things. This is not the same every single year. It just depends on what our priorities are. So I would encourage you that whatever budget you have, spend within your means, figure out what your dollar amount is, and then figure out what your priorities are and set your percentages that will work for you based on your priorities. But hopefully my budget will give you a little bit of an idea for a starting point. All right, so I'm going to share my screen so that you can see, because I have this saved in a Google Doc. Put a little note at the top for myself because these are 2 other categories that I don't want to forget about. I have, there are 6 siblings in my family. I'm the oldest, and then I have 4 sisters and a brother. So usually, like, if I see something that I really, really like from my brother or my sisters, I'll get it. But it's kind of like an unspoken rule in our family that none of us have to buy gifts for each other. And sometimes we will for birthdays. It's just sort of like whatever we feel like doing, mainly because if you do that on a regular basis, it ends up costing a lot since there's so many of us. So we just sort of give from the heart when we feel led to do that. And some years I'll give for birthdays and not for Christmas. Some years I'll give for Christmas and not much for birthdays. Just say, happy birthday, maybe send a card. But that's just how our family does it. But I put a little note up here. I haven't found anything yet that I really am wanting to get them this year. But if I do, it's up there to remind myself that I have to add that to my current amount because I didn't put any dollar amount in for it. However, that's something I can kind of like squeeze in with my regular budget and it'll be just fine. The other thing that I have to think about is that my youngest daughter, Ainsley, her birthday is in January, and we get paid monthly in our state as teachers. So we will get paid before we leave for Christmas break. And then we will have to go almost 6 weeks before we get another paycheck, just because they're paying us early. We usually get paid every 4 weeks, but because we're leaving for those 2 weeks, We're going to have to go through the rest of December and all of January until the end of January before we get paid again. So her birthday being in the middle of January, I have to always think when I'm purchasing Christmas gifts to make sure that I also buy her birthday gifts, or I at least hold some money back somewhere so that I'll be able to do that on time when she gets her birthday. All right. So first things first, we have our outside decorations, that's our largest dollar amount this year. It's around 25%, a little bit less than that. And I have quite a few inside decorations that I've picked up over the years. And also, when the girls left the house several years ago, I had to start replacing a lot of my inside decorations. So I feel like I've spent a good amount, even last year, like I bought quite a few inside decorations. So this year I set a small budget for myself just to buy a few little things to make me happy. But overall, I don't need a lot. It's just to freshen things up a little bit. So I set that at 4% of my budget. Stockings are a larger amount. And the reason for that is that since we're doing the family gift exchange, my place where I can, buy something personal for each of my kids, my daughters, and their significant others, that would be the stockings. So I set a little bit higher for that just because, it's all the girls. So when I buy for my girls, that's 3 girls, and then there's 2 others. So that's 5 altogether that I need to buy for. So, and then Grayson and Alba. And then we buy a stocking for ourselves, and then we buy something for the dog. So although Joe and I don't tend to spend a lot on our stockings, we just like get little treats or whatever. So that's 15% of the Christmas budget. Joe and I are actually, the older that we get, the more we are about spending money on experiences and not on gifts. But we do usually buy something for each other at Christmas time, just so we have something to unwrap. Sometimes we'll do it alone. Sometimes we'll do it with the family. This year we've set a budget of 7.5% for each of us to purchase a gift for each other. But our main money that we're spending on each other is on our big anniversary trip to Boston, which I'm so excited about. It's coming up in just a couple of weeks. We're going to be leaving for a long weekend. We're going to be flying to Boston, and I got amazing ticket prices for our airline tickets the day after Thanksgiving, or it might have been Cyber Monday. I think it was Cyber Monday, but we got a really great deal on our airline tickets, so we didn't have to drive. And then staying in the city in the Back Bay area, which if you know anything about Boston, that's like a very historic area, cobblestone streets, like beautiful brownstone buildings, lots of shopping, lots of eateries there, and not too far from the downtown area. So we can easily get there by trolley or whatever. So we're not even going to have to rent a car. But we are going to be going to see the Christmas holiday concert for the Boston Pops Orchestra. So super excited about that trip. That's our main money that we're spending. And I did not include it in our Christmas budget because it's like we're getting a bonus in the month of December. It's our supplement, and we're getting half of it in December. So we're going to use part of our bonus and save the rest of our bonus. But that money is not part of this budget. All right, then we have our family name exchange gifts, which will be 10% of our budget. That's one person that is being bought for Joe, and one person that's being bought for me. Grayson and Alba, I budgeted another 10% for them. And although Alba's little, I want to get her, what's it called? Everly? Hold on, let me see if I can find. I want to get her developmental toys through Love Every. And so Love Every is a company that they have developmentally appropriate toys for every age and stage, ages 0 to 4. So there's a lot of learning kits that you can buy. They have different play kits, and you can purchase a one-time gift, or you can purchase like a subscription box where the child will get things every month. So let me see if I can show you some examples here. So we've got the 0 to 12 months. They've got what they call the looker play kit, that's to develop their eyes, the charmer, which is like interaction between the baby and their loved ones. And then there's a sensory play kit at months 5 through 6. Inspector play kit is when they start getting more involved in, opening things, and explorer play kit just continues with that. And then the thinker is from 11 to 12 months. And then they have all these categories from 1 year to 2 year, 2 years to 3, 3 to 4. So it's really pretty cool the way that they offer these. So you just put in the date of birth and your email address, and they'll send you some ideas. And there's different amounts that you can spend. So they have delivery, and right now there's a special. It's $80 per play kit, and you can do it every other month if you want, to save a little bit. Here's an example of some of the things that are included. So they're very high quality and based on brain development research, and it's just a fun thing to get in the mail. And as the kids get a little bit older, they start to understand, when they get things, this box is for them. And so it can be a lot of fun for them as they get a little older. They even include little books, like there's a little pig game, color matching, lots of fun little things. Here's some, looks like chalk, a simple puzzle, sorting games, pegboards. This is a balance scale so they can experiment, a tea party set, and then movement as they get a little bit bigger. So lots of fun. So I'm looking at that for Alba. So that will cost us a little bit, but it's totally worth it for her. And Grayson, he actually every year his mom takes him to the store and goes to the toy section, and then she'll just take his picture next to things that he really likes. He holds them up, or he'll stand next to them and point to them, and she takes a bunch of pictures, and then she sends them to our online family photo album so that we can all decide who's buying what that he wants. So that's the way we do Grayson. All right, so at work we have it's not really a secret Santa this year. It's like a white elephant gift. And so that for both of us to purchase a gift is 3% of our budget. And then we have some closer friends that we wanted to get some presents for. That's 4% of our budget. I'm going to make pumpkin rolls for our closest coworkers, and that is 3% of our budget, basically for supplies and the containers and the wrap that we're going to wrap them up in. Then our family holiday meal is 7.5% of our budget, although I might end up taking a little bit more from our regular grocery budget for that. That's just a set amount that I have there to make sure that I'm covering any extras that we don't normally spend on a meal just because we're having such a fancy meal. I will buy a simple gift for my parents, unless I just find something that absolutely screams them, in which case I might spend a little bit more than that, but I've budgeted 5% of our budget for my parents' gifts. And then I have a lot of little nieces and nephews, and so I'm going to buy each of them something small. And then I try to buy them things for their birthdays if I can remember. Sometimes some years, like some of them get things and others don't. And then I try to spoil a different one the next year just because we're busy, and they live in Maryland. So it's harder for us to do that. But I just do the best I can. And when I can buy them things, then I do, and they don't seem to mind. So, and then of course your total, which I'm not going to tell you how much that is, but that's basically my amount, and I will link this below. So if you want a starting idea for your budget, you can start from here. You can change categories, you can add categories, but that'll just give you like a starting point. The most important thing is to make sure that you have a plan and that you try to stick to it as closely as you can, realizing that if something comes up and you need to spend more, you have to figure out where that's coming from, so that after Christmas, you're not going to be stressed out trying to pay a bunch of credit card balances down, things like that. This budget is based on a cash budget only, so we will not owe after Christmas, which is a great blessing and a present to myself. All right, so here's the breakdown. It shows you the biggest category, obviously, outside decorations right now, like I said. The next biggest category is stockings, mainly because those are for, so many people. And then we have the family exchange, and the grandkids are another couple big categories. And then Joe's gift, my gift, and my holiday meal. And the nieces and nephews are kind of even. And then we also have some smaller things like my parents' gift, and not sure what this is. I would have to go to the actual, these are the smaller things, white elephant, things like that. So that's how I do my holiday budget. I'm interested in hearing how you do your holiday budget. So put your comments down below. Hopefully it's not in line as you're putting things back that you realize you can't afford. Let's all stick within our budgets and spend within our means this year so we can truly enjoy each other and not be stressed when Christmas is over. Thanks for listening. This was Vlogmas day number 3, and I'll see you tomorrow.